Clarissa Shields, guys, successfully defended her heavyweight title against Franchon Cruz Desern.
And they was rumbling.
They were going
right off the rip.
What are your thoughts on this one, Cop?
Well, Clarissa Shields is, one of the two best women boxers in the world, but she has nobody to fight. There's just not many active fighters at her weight in the world if you look at BoxRec.
I don't think Cop's saying it's her fault, but the fact is, when you judge athletes, part of it is what else is around them. And Clarissa's competing in an era where there just aren't a lot of, forget about people on her level, there aren't a lot of people, period, a lot a lot of women, period, fight boxing.
50 active fighters at our weight class.
50 in the world. So when you say who is the top 50, you just say all of them.
All of them.
I get that. But she is special. And I think we had the same thing with the Crawford situation, right? Oh, he's not fighting. He's not fighting. I get what you're saying, but I just want to give her credit.
Not every time you point out that there aren't a lot of fighters, do you then also have to praise her. But the competition is what it is.
My thing is this. Let's just start giving her credit first.
Well, how about this? First of all, welcome to Hood Champion Boxing and Sports. In boxing, you find a way to win or you find a way to lose. Now, you can go listen to that whole interview inside the ring. They have the YouTube channel, the Ring's YouTube channel, and listen to that whole discussion. Now, what these guys are saying on this panel is what a lot of people are saying when it comes to women's boxing. Is that they believe the women deserve credit. Some believe that the women deserve to be acknowledged, but as far as saying they're great, they don't know about that because there's really no depth in their divisions. So they're split. And I find that conversation interesting. But I just want to put this out here. All of the women are great and deserve respect, the same respect that we give the male fighters. But I understand when they come in here and start splitting hairs, I don't quite agree, though. You see, what fans are really expressing right now is a longing for a fantasy era. The same way people wish Ali, Muhammad Ali, Mike Tyson, George Foreman, and Lewis had all peaked at the same time and fought in the same era. It's just not something that can happen. But because of how those guys performed, people sit back sometimes and say, man, what if? You see, when fans say they wish Laila Ali, Shadesha Green, Katie Taylor, Baumgardner, Caroline Dubois, Ann Wolfe, Amanda Serrano, and Christy Martin were all in the same era and weight class, what they're really saying is these women are special enough. If I want to see them, if I really want to see them tested, the only test they could have received, a proper test, was against legends. And that's not disrespect. That's recognition of greatness, recognition of how special they were. But where things go wrong is when that curiosity turns into a narrative that says they weren't great because their competition wasn't great. Now that logic is crazy. And it's applied to women far more than it is to men. And how about this? Maybe the women, maybe they're not great. Maybe they're special. And their opponents are just great. Maybe Laila Ali and Christy Martin and Ann Wolfe, maybe they weren't great. Maybe they were special and their opponents were great. How about that? Because a special fighter can make a great fighter look ordinary. But here's the uncomfortable truth. Domination is often mistaken for weakness in competition. When a fighter makes elite opposition look ordinary, fans don't say, wow, she's that good. Instead, they say maybe her opponents weren't that good. People rarely do that when it comes to the men. Nobody out here discrediting Floyd Mayweather. I hear a couple of haters out there, but for the most part, they don't discredit Floyd because he made champions look clueless. Everyone knows Floyd was special. Nobody discredits Mike Tyson because he ran through contenders in one round. They knew Mike Tyson was special. But when women dominate, the reaction becomes who they should really fight. That double standard is still baked into boxing culture, and women pay for it with their legacies, even Clarissa Shields. No matter what you think about Clarissa Shields, as a fighter, Clarissa Shields is special. I mean, Some people are meant to fight, and that's Claressa Shields. So for all y'all out there be like, man, people don't give her credit. Look, hopefully you hear what just came out my mouth. Claressa Shields is a special fighter. She gets busy. But I'll tell you this, I think it's unfair for people to downplay Claressa Shields' talent. Yeah, I said it. I think it's unfair to downplay Shadesha's talent. And even Franchon has talent. You know, you don't just go and do what you did, what these women did as amateurs and being Olympians and shit. You don't just get to go out there and do all that if there's not something special about you. And to turn pro and get out here and fight and win fights and dominate. You know, there's got to be something special about you. But the bottom line is, there's a double standard when it comes to the women and when it comes to men. Every woman the names that I threw out there, man, they came up through a system that didn't exist for them the way it existed for men, especially the women like the Laila Ali, Ann Wolfe, Christy Martin. They came up through a different era, man. They didn't have endless Olympic pipelines, endless TV slots, or massive amateur programs feeding them talent. They just didn't have that. They built their careers in thinner talent pools because the sport itself was thinner for women. Not because they were. That matters. It means they were pioneers and elite athletes at the same times. You can't fault them for that. Laila Ali didn't just dominate. She made women's boxing visible. Did her last name help? Of course. It helped tremendously. But it also, did it give her some perks? Probably. But it sure as hell put a target on her back, and there was probably more bad than good that came with that, because that means she had to work 10 times as hard, 100 times as hard, because she had to make sure she got in that ring and nobody was able to get the goddamn Laila Ali scalp. When you have a last name like Ali, people target you. They target you. It's just like me watching the Fernando Vargas boys. People targeting his kids because of their last name. Conor Ben, people target him. Eubank Jr., people target him. Tim Tszyu, people target him. If you're a fighter, even Prince Nassim, he got some sons fighting. They ain't all that big yet, but if they get big, they're going to be targeted. I mean, if you are a fighter whose parent was a legendary fighter, you're going to have a target on your back. And that's what Laila Ali had, and that's why she had to work so hard. People don't realize Laila Ali was in there putting in work. She had great trainers, but they made her work. They made her earn it. They didn't come in there and treat her like, she was Muhammad Ali's daughter. She was another athlete in there. She had to put the work in. They may have been harder on her, if anything, because she was Muhammad Ali's daughter. So she definitely made women's boxing visible. And Ann Wolfe is another one. She didn't just knock people out. She terrified opponents in an era when women weren't even supposed to be dangerous. What Ann Wolfe was out there doing was crazy. And everybody knows about the chick, what's her name, Vonda Ward, real tall chick with the braids that Ann Wolfe damn near decapitated, legs almost snapped and shit. That knockout is probably the most brutal knockout in boxing history. Not even women's boxing, in boxing history. Boy, that knockout was vicious, boy. But she was out here terrifying opponents. She was terrifying them opponents more than Mike Tyson had terrified and intimidated opponents. And Christy Martin didn't just win belts. She showed mainstream audiences that women's boxing could be brutal, emotional, and real. I remember watching Christy Martin fight with my dad and my brothers, man. We used to sit there watching. We used to be like, who is this woman here knocking these women out? I mean, hitting like a man. We used to look forward to seeing them fights, man. What did she come on, like Friday night fights? We used to see her fighting. Christy Martin out there doing the business. But you fast forward to today, and the modern generation still standing on that foundation, man. And Katie Taylor and Amanda Serrano are the clearest examples of what happens when elite women actually get elite dance partners. Their rivalry didn't just elevate them and force fans to shut up, you know what I'm saying? Now, I'm going to tell you right now, if you have not seen Katie Taylor versus Serrano, the first fight, second fight, or third fight, and you out here talking shit about women's boxing, well, to that I say, in the most respectful way, hey, yo, you McNicholas, hold your horses and stop taking it to the stupid. Because you need to shut up. Those two women should be the reason why people are putting pressure on these other female fighters right now to fight each other, to figure out catch weight, so that they can get in there and fight. Elite fighting the elite. Fans can't say anything. Nobody can say Katie Taylor isn't great when she fought Serrano 3 times. Nobody can say Serrano isn't great when she fought Taylor 3 times. They prove what many of the earlier champions never got the chance to prove. Greatness becomes undeniable when great meets great. And that's what you had with Taylor and Serrano. First 2 fights was something crazy. Third fight, Serrano fought the wrong fight, and I understand she was afraid of getting headbutted because Katie Taylor, she was getting her ass whipped in that second fight, so she started fighting dirty. But it doesn't matter who I think won those fights or not. The bottom line is, when great meets great, the greatness becomes undeniable. Now, Shadesha Green and Clarissa, this is why I'm going to make a real strong push for this fight. You know what I'm saying? I am. Because I am telling you, Shadesha Green is great. Clarissa Shields is great. But when they fight, we're going to find out who's special. And I think that fight right there is going to end up in a trilogy. That's just my opinion. You see, Shadesha Green and Clarissa Shields matter so much in the imaginations of fans. You listen to what the fans are saying. That's the fight right there. That's what they want. It's not just about belts. It's about validation. A lot of people watch Clarissa fight Franchon. And we knew if Clarissa wasn't focused, and Franchon took camp serious, and Franchon came well-conditioned with an expanded gas tank, because how Franchon fights, she'll grind you down, she'll maul you, she'll make it ugly. That would have been Franchon's fight to win. But what we saw is, looked like Clarissa may have taken camp a bit more serious, because she seemed to be in better shape. And Franchon just seemed like after the first round, she had gassed out. She was exhausted. But in the first round, Franchon showed how to beat Clarissa. You had to be on her. You had to pressure her. You had to maul her. You can't give her space to punch because her hands are so damn fast. And she has short arms. So if you're rushing in, not behind a jab, not behind any head movement, and you give Clarissa a chance to get them shots off, and you're within striking distance, she's going to sit there and throw them combinations. But Shadesha Green and Clarissa, I'm telling you, man, it's about finally getting and letting 2 prime dangerous women collide and answer questions that can't be answered on paper. Outside of Shadesha Green, who else can Clarissa fight? And let's be real. She can go down and fight Michaela Mayer, which I think she will do because she's talking about it. But as far as Baumgartner, and the weight at 147, maybe 7 years ago, Clarissa could have done that. But right now, I got to be real. You know, even though I got to wear, I feel about, Clarissa and shit like that. I got to be real. I don't think Clarissa can. I don't even think it's healthy for her to try to get to 147. This ain't no damn De La Hoya Pacquiao making some dream fight because it's multiples of millions of dollars on the line. Nah, the health risk ain't worth the reward for Clarissa to go down that far. But 160, 163, that may be kind of the sweet spot. Because Clarissa, and I'm not even trying to be funny, she can afford to lose weight. She can afford to lose weight. I know she's 30, about to be 31. I wasn't 30 yet, but I used to cut from 205 to 160. But again, I was younger too. I was in my early 20s. And women's bodies are differently. But when I look at Clarissa, I feel like she can get down to 160 for sure. 154, I don't know. I think she can, but I don't know. But what I can tell you is, outside of Shadesha Green, who can Clarissa fight that's going to answer questions that can be that fans can say, okay, well now we're good. I really feel Shadesha Green and Clarissa Shields is the closest thing we have to what Laila Ali versus Ann Wolfe could have been. You know what I'm saying? And no, I'm not saying Clarissa Shields is anything like Laila Ali when it comes to character. But I'm just talking about as far as Laila Ali wasn't necessarily a brawler. Could she brawl? Yeah. Could she get into a mashup, crash up? Yeah. But she's more throwing combinations. You know, she was going to knock you out. The Clarissa tried. She just can't not get the knockout. But they more want to be at a certain distance, man, and where they're in a comfortable space to get their offense off. Where Ann Wolfe was more or less bringing that pressure and trying to land big shots. Shadesha Green does both. She can box. She can time you. She has great accuracy. She sets up traps, and she has the power of Ann Wolfe. So Shadesha Green poses, to me, a far bigger threat than Franchon Cruz's are. But I do think Laila Ali and Ann Wolfe, what they could have been, we could get something close to that with Claressa Shields and Shadesha Green. The only thing that I'll say here is like what I've been saying. If someone's going to beat Claressa, you've got to have the conditioning. Because Claressa has great conditioning, man. Special conditioning. Matter of fact, I'd even say, I don't know if she uses snack. I believe she does. I don't know that. I know Crawford uses snack. Keyshawn uses snack. I don't know about I know Shakir uses snack. I don't know if Keyshawn does. But what I would say is, whatever Claressa's doing, as far as supplementation, if she's on snack, well, then Shadesha should get on snack. Let's level out the playing field. But the bottom line is, I think it's fair to ask why Laila Ali and Ann Wolfe never happened, because I don't know why it didn't. But we can't afford to have Claressa Shields and Shadesha Green slip through the cracks. Because right now, there's not going to be it's a timing issue. No, Laila Ali and Ann Wolfe, we don't know. Maybe it was timing. Maybe it was the risk, business, personal reasons. We don't know. We'll never know. So whatever. We have a good discussion, but it's over. But it ain't over for Shadesha Green and Claressa Shields. Ain't nothing wrong with no damn timing. Claressa wants to fight twice this year. 2 more times, 3 times. So Shadesha's fighting in April. Claressa may come back and fight in, I don't know, May. I don't know who she's going to fight. It won't be Shadesha, I'll tell you that. But then after that, especially if Shadesha fights in April, Claressa fights in May, then you got June, July, August, September, October time frame where Shadesha and Claressa can get it on at the end of the year. So there's no reason for them not to fight. When Shadesha wants to fight, she already said she doesn't mind Claressa being the A side. Now, the risk involved, that could be why Claressa puts duck sauce on the fried rice, because Shadesha don't care. It could be the business. It may not even be Claressa. It may be her team. Claressa may be over there, man, please, put me in the ring with Shadesha. She want to scrap. But it could be old Papoose, Pap, Dimitri Salita, Win Records. They may be like, nah. Let's get you, so we need you to win. Not saying you can't win, but we need a low risk, low reward fight as far as the fight itself. But the huge reward is going to be you winning, getting more attention on yourself, being undefeated, and then hopefully if we can convince people that you're a bit different now. We can get people to see your image in a different light, and then we can help to improve and refine, maybe even overhaul your whole brand. And maybe now we start to get a little bit of money coming in here. But if you take a loss, it's all over. Because everything about Claressa, what brand she does have and the way people view her and all this support she's getting, let me tell you something. I think she should get all the support in the world. I'm not going to wish for no fighter to not get support. Everybody should have people supporting them. Who want to see somebody be miserable and sad and depressed? That's a fucked up feeling. But at the same time, I'm going to tell you, if Claressa, everything with her is built on being undefeated, the quote, the disc, the gold medal, if she loses, she's going to see how cold this world is, because I'm sure all these people, all these supporters are going to jump ship. Because that's what people do. So we'll see what happens with that fight. But if it doesn't happen, it's either going to be personal reasons, which is on Claressa. It's going to be business reasons. That's on Win Records and Dimitri Salita. Or it could just be too much of a risk, which could be Dimitri Salita, Win Records, and maybe even Claressa. But it sure as hell don't have nothing to do with timing. Because she got the time, and the time is now. But as far as Laila Ali and Ann Wolfe, we may never know. We probably won't know. But the fact that fans still care about that fight decades later tells you something. Laila Ali and Ann Wolfe are real stars, and right now Claressa Shields and Shadesha Green are real stars, and Claressa being the one whose star shines brighter than everyone else's right now because she has the most attention on her. Whether it's good or bad, she has the most attention. Now, Baumgartner and Caroline Dubois, same way I talk about Claressa Shields and Shadesha Green, the time is now. That fight can result in a trilogy, just like Baumgartner and Caroline Dubois. Them talks come from the exact same place. Two elite women, different styles, both capable of winning on their best night. That's the recipe for a trilogy. So you had the Serrano Taylor, could have that in Green and Shields, and you could get that with Caroline Dubois and Baumgartner. Y'all understand, people? That's how legends get made. Imagine if Laila Ali and Ann Wolfe would have fought 3 times. Whether they were competitive each time and somebody won all 3, or there was one, somebody won 2, the other one person won 1, it doesn't matter. Laila's a legend, Ann Wolfe is a legend. But just imagine what that trilogy would have done for them. Same thing with Shadesha Green and Claressa. They can't miss the opportunity, and Caroline Dubois and Baumgartner is another opportunity they can't miss. Because legends get made this way, not by crushing overmatched opponents forever. We get it. you fight who's ranked and who they put in front of you. We get it. But this overmatched opponents forever bullshit, nah. But by surviving wars with equals is how you get made as a legend, man. You got to get in there with an equal. That's the thing. These women have to find their equal. And if you got to go down 7 pounds, go up 7 pounds, then they need to figure it out. The tragedy of women's boxing history is that many great fighters never got that equal. They didn't avoid it. The system didn't produce it for them. They weren't talking about catch weights and shit back then. But right now, we know there's a lot of different ways for fights to get made. So I don't know. I like to talk about what ifs, because they matter emotionally to fans. What if Laila Ali fought Ann Wolfe? Power versus composure. Fear versus finesse. That's what the discussion is. How about this? What if Ann Wolfe fought Shadesha Green? How about that? Old school menace versus modern athleticism and freakish power. Ann Wolfe and Shadesha Green. Talk about a dream matchup. You know they would have gone at it. What if Katie Taylor fought a prime Laila Ali at a catchweight? Speed versus size and intelligence. Because Katie Taylor has some fast-ass hands. What if Baumgartner fought Serrano? Sharp counters versus relentless pressure. That would be a good fight. I know Serrano will fight anybody, but it looks like Serrano's trying to just get her money and bounce. Just like Katie Taylor has a retirement fight this summer. They done. Actually, Serrano's not done. She says she'll keep fighting. But her and Baumgartner, I wouldn't be surprised if they made that fight. Because Baumgartner's on MVP, Serrano's on the MVP. That may be the route that they try to take Baumgartner to fight Serrano. But anyway, when we talk these what ifs, these aren't insults to anyone's career. They are love letters to their talent. Fans only imagine fantasy fights when fighters feel legendary. And all these names being mentioned are legends or fighters who we feel will go on to become legendary. But here's what the line, I like to talk this shit a lot about draw the line in the sand. But here's where the line must be drawn. You can debate hypothetical matchups without questioning whether these women were actually great. You know what I'm saying? You can debate a hypothetical matchup. You don't have to question whether women were great or not. Saying who would win is fun. Saying they weren't really that good, that shit's disrespect. And it's rooted in the same mindset that once said women didn't belong in boxing at all. Now I'm going to tell you, I love the ladies. Ladies, you ain't going to get a hood champion saying too much craziness about no woman, boy. Nothing not to make a man feel like a woman. So I'm going to always watch what I say. But the fact remains, women's boxing has grown enormously. More TV, more purses, more skill, more depth. But the respect has not kept pace with the progress. When they're going to put respect on all these women's names? I understand Claressa Shields comes out here and she gets on social media and she likes to have a strong footprint. I understand how they feel about her and her personal life. I get it. I understand all that. But you got to be able to separate the two, man, when they talk about her as a fighter. Claressa Shields is a talented fighter. When it comes to Shadaysha Green, I hear some people talking shit about Shadaysha Green. Well, she lost to Franchon, and Franchon, look how she looked against Claressa. Franchon looked like she didn't belong in the ring with Claressa, so how's Shadaysha going to win? Oh, yo, McNicholas, quit taking it to the stoop. The Shadaysha that fought Franchon is not the same Shadaysha. I hear what they say about Baumgartner. Some people say stuff about Baumgartner. That really blows my mind. The only person I haven't heard anybody say nothing crazy about is Caroline DeBoer. They're like, yo, she like Mike Tyson. She got skill, she got power. That's the only person I haven't heard of. But let her have a fight where maybe it's really competitive. Really competitive. Oh, they'll do the same thing. You know what I'm saying? They'll do the same thing because it's just a bunch of negative McNicholases running around here. But I'll say this, fighters today are better trained, better conditioned, and more complete than ever. Yet they still get framed as beneficiaries of weak eras instead of creators of strong ones. That shit is ass backwards to me. You don't punish pioneers for arriving early. How you going to get mad at Laila Ali because she arrived damn near 20 years ago? How you going to get mad at Ann Wolfe, Christy Martin because they weren't around right during this era? What are we doing here? You need to honor those ladies. Honor them for building the road, man. How could you disrespect them? It's crazy to me. The irony in this, fans demand greatness. But hey, yo, you McNicholas, women deliver greatness. You don't see it, you're blind, son. You're blind to the fact. And then fans say, prove it against legends. How? Who, what, when, where, why, how? They don't exist in the era. That's why a lot of people, anyway, don't get me going on that. But that's why a person like me who was a Claressa Shields supporter, and I still support her, you know what I'm saying? But I mean, I have a way I feel about it, man. She come out there messing with Laila Ali. That shit is just annoying and a turnoff and disgusting. It's like, I understand the money attached to the Ali name. We understand. But even today, still out here, but see, this is what I gotta be. I support Claressa as a fighter because I know the training she puts in, the discipline it takes, because I've been punched in the face. I've been in the ring. I've cut weight. You know what I mean? I've got ready for fights. So I can separate everything when it comes to just her as a fighter and what it takes for her to be able to perform the way she does. Like, that shit is not everybody can do it, if so they would. But when it comes to her calling out Laila Ali, and even to this day, the stuff she says, I don't respect that. And I understand the money that they know is attached to that name, but they ain't never going to get it. Laila already said she won't fight her, and you can't blame her for not wanting to fight her. I wouldn't fight her either. Laila ain't afraid of no damn Claressa Shields. But it's been too disrespectful. And you know what? After watching how things played out with Franchon, I do blame Claressa, but I blame her team. I probably blame her team more than Claressa. But to be honest with you, I blame Claressa probably equally, because the team wasn't around back in the day when Claressa was out here, man, hearing what she wanted to hear when Laila was out here speaking, creating her own narrative. The team wasn't around. Papoose wasn't around. He wasn't around. Win Records wasn't around. When Laila Ali went on there and did that damn interview with them boys on the Breakfast Club, they had nothing to do with Papoose and Win Records or Dimitri Salita. That was Claressa Shields. But the bottom line is, trying to prove anything against a legend that doesn't exist in your era, Laila Ali is not in this era, folks. No one should be mentioning her name about a fight or being, still thinking that would happen. Like, just leave it alone. Laila Ali, I ain't cooking. She got all kind of, I'm about to order some of those different little seasonings she had. And I don't indulge in all that because I'm a West Indian cat. I got my own. We cook over here, real deal cooking over here. But I'll support her and pick up a few and try it. I'm barbecuing and season some meat. But of course I got to put in the little Trini green seasoning and all that shit. I'll never get away from that. Matter of fact, I may hit up Laila and tell her about that. Hey, send her a link to her. I may do a video and send it to her. Just a video of YouTube of how they make Trini green seasoning. Laila, try this. I don't know. Maybe me and Laila go on business and shit. Call it the ticket to the stupid seasoning. We can get paid, Laila. We got some product over here. But the bottom line is she don't exist in this damn era. Leave her alone. And men aren't held to that damn standard women are, you know what I'm saying? Men can kind of get away with a whole lot of shit. So the reality is this. You got to deal with what's in front of you. And we have to deal with what's in front of us. We judge fighters by what they could control, not what history denied them. It is what it is. It's just like me. Well, I don't know if I want to get into that. But I've had some opportunities to do things right in my face. And I've done some, and I'm glad I did. But I've had others that I had in my face, and I was like, I don't know, I think I'm going to do this. And I regret to this day that I didn't do it. I regret to this day. Because it was right in my face, not even 2 weeks later. Not even 2 weeks later. Cha-ching, ching, 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 ching. And I was like, wow, how'd I miss that? But it's all good. But at the end of the day, focus on what you can control, not what has been denied. And we respect dominance as dominance, not as evidence of weak competition. And we stop pretending that women's greatness needs asterisks while men's greatness gets statues. Women's boxing, man, is not lacking talent. It's catching up to opportunity. And as more elite fights actually get made, the Taylor Serranos, potentially Shields and Green, I'm really hoping for that fight. And, Baumgartner and Dubois at some point, hopefully, the old narrative will die naturally. Not because people changed their minds, but because the evidence became too loud to ignore. And the truth is emotional, whether fans admit it or not. We wish all these women existed in one era because we know they're special. If all of these women, the names I've been mentioning in this damn live, well, they ain't even live, but I'm going to post it as pre-recorded, right? But for all the names I mentioned, if they all existed right now, and were all active right now, and maybe they were 1 or 2 weight classes apart, but could meet at a catch weight or fight in the same weight class, man, shit, boy, you know how dangerous those fights would be? How exciting, how compelling? Fans would lose their damn minds. But the reality is, they're all special. We're from different eras. And we argue about their greatness because we feel it. Even when some won't say it. So that's not a weakness of women's boxing. That's proof it finally matters, man. These people need to stop disrespecting these women. I don't understand what's wrong with these McNicholases out here. But half feel like I feel, that the women are great. The women dominate because they dominate. They don't dominate because they have tomato cans in front of them. That's very disrespectful. Special fighters do special things. And we have special women fighters, female fighters, and the women deserve all the respect in the world. Just like Laila Ali, Christy Martin, Ann Wolfe from back in the day. They deserve all the respect in the world. But that's from a different era. And you got to put respect on these fighters today. Shadesha, Clarissa, Baumgartner, Katie Taylor, Serrano, Dubois, and all the other fighters. Stop dissing them, man. That shit's crazy to me. Anyway, I'm in the breeze.